Now, supporters of Iraq's influential cleric Muqtada al-Sadr have stormed Baghdad's government palace. A curfew is in place after the army was deployed to disperse the crowd and to call on protesters to leave the green zone. At least 2 people have been killed and dozens injured. The violence comes hours after al-Sadr announced he was quitting politics and closing his offices. His followers have held weeks of protest calling for reform in Iraq, which has been without a government or leader since elections last October. Well, John Davison is Iraq bureau chief for Reuters news agency in Baghdad. He updated me on the situation there.
It's very tense this evening after these clashes earlier today. So there were protests after Muqtada al-Sadr announced that he was withdrawing from politics once and for all. And his supporters have clashed with supporters of other Shiite Muslim groups. So there's at least 2 people have been killed. And at the moment, as we understand, there are pickup trucks of armed men circling in Baghdad, driving around from both sides. So the situation looks very touch and go at the moment.
And perhaps you can explain the background to us, because it seems extraordinary that a senior cleric announcing that he's quitting politics should lead to political violence. How does one lead to the other?
Yes, well, it's not the first time that he's announced that he's going to withdraw in some shape or form from the political process. Muqtada al-Sadr, in doing this, in making this move, has basically given the green light to some of his supporters who were already occupying some government buildings to sort of do whatever they wanted without a leader to control them or to tell them to back off. So that's what's prompted the escalation. And
why is the country without a president or prime minister or anything since the elections in October?
Iraq normally goes through a phase of, several months of political deadlock or negotiation where different parties decide on which ministries they're going to get and not get. This time, Muqtada al-Sadr refused to deal with some parties, most of them parties aligned with Iran, and wanted a government which was just him and his allies. Because that didn't happen, he decided to withdraw his lawmakers from parliament, but he's still staged these mass demonstrations, and it's led to the worst political deadlock that we've seen so far in Iraq. It's been the longest ever since 2003.
So, from what you've said, given that he's done this before, and given that his latest announcement comes after he's withdrawn his political weight from proceedings, it sounds like there is likely to be another comeback, but this time I'll only come back on my terms.
That's a possibility. He might only come back on his terms. Another possibility is that it just devolves even further into sort of uncontrolled street clashes as it did today. It's really unclear, and it's never sure with Muqtada al-Sadr what will be next. As today, his announcement itself was yet another surprise to a lot of observers.
Thank you for taking us through that so clearly. John Davison from Reuters news agency in Baghdad.